Yeah.
So if you need assistance, I'll go in.
Okay, I'll give you 1 more minute. The volume, so these two are active. And just volume down, volume up. Go wild. Excellent, good. See you. I'm going to start here. That's teams. Okay. Wait for a second. Hello everyone. Welcome to this month's edition of Satuccino, Growth Capital themed. So firstly, I just want to thank you all for coming, and thank you everyone online as well. I won't take up too much time on myself, but just for those of you who don't know me, my name is George Elliott. I'm the Business Engagement Lead. A lot of the conversations I have just sort of around understanding what we do with the Catapult, ways we can support, and sort of filtering that into a support package for businesses, both at startup through to scale up. So that's me. If you want to sort of have a chat a little bit after, by means grab me. So I'm going to kick things straight off with our keynote today. Chris Malcolm from Oppenheimer.
We can move on from the picture pretty quickly. And I hate microphones, so unless you have any issues with hearing me, I'm just going to talk like any good banker. I'm going to talk about myself for the beginning. So many of you may not know Oppenheimer. I assume we've got slides here. Get over that. Or I'll get a little minute. Solid start.
So you managed to say stuff 3 times then.
I know, right? Love it when a plan comes together. So we are a US headquartered mid-market investment bank, 175 investment bankers, 45 covering the technology space, of which 10 of us sit in the UK. What does that really mean for everyone in this room? It means 80% of what we do is really focused around fundraising and sell-side M&A. From a sector perspective, space tech really is an emerging sector, right? If you look at the average deal size coming through, or if you look at the number of deals coming through, it's relatively small at the moment, but given everything that's going on, we're expecting that demand to increase quite substantially. So for us at the moment, it really comes across clean tech and industrial technology being the main use cases. And there's a couple of the guys from the team here as well. So if you have any questions post this event, do come and grab us. But what are we really seeing from an investment perspective? And I think the important thing to note about this slide is it's venture capital, so it's financial investors coming into the industry. No real surprises in terms of the US being the dominant market. I think the real interesting part, especially given a lot of the public rhetoric that we have been going around over the last 12 months, is actually how relatively little it's changed in terms of that US dominance. We would expect that to come down over time. Europe, China as the two next largest core markets, and the bit that we quite clearly need to address here is the UK, which remains a very small part. The other two interesting parts from this slide when you look at it is actually the numbers are relatively low. From a deal perspective, looking at 100 to 120 deals per year has been relatively stable, and that's investment rounds. But what we've seen slowly over time is the median deal size increase. But it's still only at $5 million. So quite clearly, there are a number of very high profile public fundraisings that are taking place, but we still need to see the industry mature to really start getting financial investors taking a good interest in the space. So that's really from a market perspective. Now, how do we look at it? It's been pretty fortunate timing for me, but my colleagues in the US, given how active we are, my research colleagues have just initiated in the industry. And so this is how they view the market size by satellite subsegment by 2035. Right, at the moment, they're forecasting it'll be a 400 billion market. No real surprises in terms of the big sectors coming through. So communications being an obvious one, space defense, no surprise there. But it's really some of this other and new industries, which are completely new pools of capital where a lot of the members here today will be spending their time. But that covers data centers, it covers manufacturing, it covers tourism. And we've all seen the recent articles around tourism coming through, right? It seems relatively pie in the sky, but there is money going into these sectors. So, we think it's a really interesting time. One of the parts, I had a conversation this morning, one of the parts that is really difficult for the broader investor community or broader funding community is to remember, investors are fundamentally lazy, right? So if you have a difficult and unclear proposition, you're going to struggle to get investment. So you've got to have a really clear proposition and go-to-market strategy. And we'll hear how are you actually going to make money and how are you going to make them money, right? That's a really important part of the thing as we think through this emerging piece. And really, where do we think in terms of key trends? No surprises again. Government. Government is going to be a huge driver in terms of investment into the space and directing where it goes. From a sector and investment thesis perspective, we're really seeing it kind of bifurcating into near-term infrastructure and then the longer-term investment into manufacturing in space, hotels in space, right? So lots and lots of interesting capability coming through. I think the bit that I really want to leave you with is, the next 24, 36, 48 months, you're going to see a lot more interest coming through. You're going to see a lot more private money, financial institutions spending time around this area, right? It's quite clear that there's a lot happening, but it is still a very nascent industry. So, there's plenty of speakers here today who will show you some war stories, who will show you how they're wanting to invest in the area, but it's an exciting time, right? And that's why we as an institution are spending time around it. And I think the last part really from me is, as I said, our team initiated on from a research perspective on the satellite industry. If you want to get a copy of that report, let me know, let the team know, let the guys at the Catapult Day, and we're happy to send that across. So enjoy the rest of the Satuccino.
Thank you very much, Chris. Next up, we have Natasha Skanes from The Auto Show.
I think I'll second. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Natasha Skanes. I work at a law firm called Phil Fisher. There's a little bit about us here, but I'm not going to spend the whole time boring you about what a law firm does, but in summary, we have a market-leading satellite and space industry practice group. So I personally focus on working with companies going through growth and transformation, whether that's early stage funding through to private equity and then M&A on buy and sell side. How I ended up in this industry, I was a generic M&A lawyer, and then one day I got a call from a recruiter saying, do you fancy moving in-house to a little company that's just come out of bankruptcy? It's got about 60 people, it's called OneWeb. And I'd never heard of it, but I thought, this sounds like a great opportunity. So I moved into industry, and then I spent 4 years there scaling up OneWeb, going through all of the equity funding, the merger with Eutelsat, the IPO, and some hiccups along the way, like when our satellites were stolen by the Russian space agency and some other issues like that. I wanted to give 3 takeaways today that are not super conventional for a lawyer, but I thought there's a lot of things I could talk about around keeping your cap table clean and intellectual property rights and other kind of generic advice for scale-ups. But 3 things I wanted to talk about. The first one is seeing governance as an asset, and when you are approaching, whether you're early stage or later stage, scaling up as you navigate your business, people will always talk about compliance and governance and having your house in order and making sure that everything is rosy for when investors come along and do due diligence. And I think if you can approach running a business with the mindset of governance being an asset, and when you're going through milestones and you're scaling up, it's an opportunity to have your house in order in a way that really sets you apart and sets you in good stead. And if you can approach running your business and scaling with that lens, it's going to make your life a lot easier in the years to come. That being said, I think progress over perfection is a really, really important message that your lawyer should be your partner who facilitate growth and help you navigate what's a pretty highly regulated industry. But that doesn't mean that everything needs to be perfect. I mean, at OneWeb we had government interests and so many things were fudged along the way. And that's the reality. You know, you could spend many thousands of pounds getting everything legally perfect and tank your business in the process. The last thing, which is slightly unconventional, is what I call the 3M test. And the reality is, if you're a scaling business or you're a business going through growth and transformation, if I'm your lawyer, you're going to be talking to me a lot. You might have to call me at unsociable hours. And the reality is there's a lot of lawyers who will do a fantastic job for you. And I think a point that people should remember is find someone that you actually like working with, and find someone that you actually want to partner with to go on that growth journey. I think I'm probably at time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Lucy Kennedy from Spotted.
This one?
Yeah.
There we go. Natasha's quite right. There is nothing like having to put together a data room to get all your stuff in order.
Which button? Right.
Right, okay. All right. So I'm Lucy Kennedy, CEO and co-founder of Spotted. We are a born and brought up, I would say, downstream analytics company based here on Harwell. So I sit in the downstream applications part. I get excited about when data is delivered from space. And basically Spotted, we provide remote monitoring solutions for owners of large-scale linear critical infrastructure. So I always joke that 80% of my revenue is generated from people with pipes and pylons. I do good business with that. And I thought I'd come and talk today because it's been a while since I've been here and it's always nice to come, but also to talk a little bit about keep all your options open. I've got lots of grey hairs. I have done it all in the Spotted journey. First thing I want to say is money from clients is the best money you will ever get. It will solve many, many, many problems. It will bring investment to you. You can get loans. So the best situation is to get money from the client, so you don't need any of the other financial tools, although a nice add-on. Grant money is absolutely great. Spotted exists because of a European Space Agency business applications grant funding that basically Spotted was spun out of. Keep an eye though, do align it to your R&D roadmap. Question mark, is it sustainable? That grant money will end and you've got to have a plan B, or you've got to have your growth ready after that. Investments, loans, there's a lot of talk and pressure and workshops around investments, and we all plan to raise millions and millions and be worth 100x for our investors by the end of the journey. The reality is that very few of us make it to the end of that journey, and I would say don't think about M&A as the end of your kind of financial merry-go-round. It is a very valid route, and in fact Spotted was acquired and we went out and we looked. We put ourselves up for M&A. We were looking for a partner that would give us broader shoulders and be able to generate the growth that we were looking for. Because, investors, loans, can you deliver the required returns quick enough? And you were just saying, this is a nascent market. There are inherent risks, and different sectors as well have different adoption rates. I work with a lot of utility network operators, not famous for speed of adoption. They will get there. It's a big golden egg, but you've got to stay alive to get there and to the end. So yeah, we were acquired by Lucy Group. It's run by Ian Lucy. He's an Irish tech entrepreneur. He's now got a group of 10 tech companies, and you might be looking different things from your M&A activity. Broader shoulders, are you looking for money, access to clients, technology, go to market? There are lots of different reasons, but do consider it. I think as sort of owners and founders, it's often the last option on the plate, but keep an open mind to it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Lucy. Next up, we have Priya Vogel from Barclays Innovation Banking. Right.
Hi, so I'm Priya from Barclays Innovation Bank. I'm one of the relationship directors. So I'll talk you through our proposition. So it started as a side of the desk for our mainstream relationship directors about 10 years ago. We identified there's fast-growing businesses that are going through different challenges, and 10 years later, we're still supporting the innovation network. We've got vast networks, so we're a national team that cover all different levels. And the key is that we match your momentum, right? So our proposition is that we'll be with you from start to IPO. That's what you choose to do, or whatever exit looks like for you. So many of you may have come across Eagle Labs before. So Eagle Labs is in essence Barclays' commitment to the innovation business. You don't have to be a customer to use to use Barclays Eagle Labs. They're around the country, but we have a free offering for any startup business, and the design there is that there's a raft of courses, programs that you can use. We've also launched a demo directory. A challenge a lot of you will have is connecting with the right investors at the right time in your journey. The demo directory has a raft of investors across the country, and you're able to put your pitch decks on there, but we'll also support you with courses we feel might be helpful. Once you've secured funding, it comes to our growth team. So that's a dedicated relationship manager that will support you to leverage their network and kind of be the strategic partner. So thinking about yourselves, how are your advisors supporting you? And it comes back to what they said before about lawyers. We should be helping you, worry about the boring stuff. Is your security right in your accounts? A lot of the funding is published. Are you protecting yourselves against fraud? We'll come in and do all the fraud courses with your teams. And as a founder, it can be a lonely place, right? So it's about having that person you can pick up the phone to, but also we can cut through the noise for you. So if you're looking for a specific service, we've got the networks that we can leverage. And then it comes to scale, which is my team, once you've had 5 million investment, and it's exactly the same. We're the strategic partner. My job is to get in there, really help you if it's building your team and scaling and bringing the business acumen to the idea that you have to get you into the corporate bank to move you on to your next stage. And exit, I think exit's really important for yourselves because it's great getting funding, but it's about making sure you safeguard that exit and what it looks like for you. And that actually you're not tied into agreements with investors that then put you in a position where you can't exit where you want to. But then it's also putting the proposition around you as a person, right? So that's where the private bank comes in, and we can really leverage the whole Barclays network, because hopefully when you exit, that comes to your dreams and your ambitions, and we can have the conversations about what do you want to achieve personally with this and how do you make that work for you. So I guess for us as a bank, it's about saying you are within your rights to challenge your advisors, your bankers, lawyers and accountants. We should be there to service you and help you, and we can provide you with bank accounts and everything. We have specialised deposit rates for businesses that are raising money. But yeah, I mean, we're committed to the market. We love it. We're sector agnostic, but we have sector specialism. So we have defence specialism, science and quantum. So we'll be around a bit later if anybody wants to talk through the proposition more. Richard's here as well, my colleague. So come and find us if you want to have a chat in a bit. That's it. Thank you.
Next up, we have Elliot Stockbriggs from PwC.
Can I stay that one?
Yep.
Hi there all, great to be here this afternoon. Apologies, I don't have any slides to keep going, but I suppose I come with something that's free. So I'm part of our global space practice, but I also feel today I'm representing a couple of other alliance partners we have on a program we're supporting UK Space Agency on, which is around the growth pathway and the growth hub. And effectively what that's trying to do is look at how do we help organizations scale, particularly whether it's from startup to scale, but also when you start getting to more mature and we can go further along funding rounds. And so a number of you I know from some of the different conversations and relationships we have. To put it out there though, everyone that's covered up here before has hit the nail on the head in terms of, are you really clear around your commercial proposition? Have you got clear governance in place that shows that you are a reputable and a reliable business to go for? What markets are you pursuing? And I saw the sort of focus on defense and stats on that. We know a number of the organizations we're working with are very much looking to pivot, but also expecting, how do I deal with the long runways that are required around that? So you've got a lot of things to grapple with between the regulation, between the cap tables, between your growth pathways, between your commercial contracts. And so one of the things that's been published online, and basically you go online, and the easiest way is always just to Google it to say Growth Hub UK Space Agency. But if you go on there, there is a series of videos across a number of different streams, such as getting ready for investment, what institutional investors are looking for, what does it mean in terms of from a regulation point of view and things like IP and export controls, and also what does data rooms look like. And then also once you get past some of those things and you're into future rounds, how do you start preparing for Series A plus B? So there's a whole bunch of videos on there in terms of learning materials. There's a whole bunch of interviews with some experts around it. You'll also find tools such as data room lists, checklists for what you need, checklists of what good governance looks like. And so all those things that can help you as you start getting through. And then when you start engaging with your fantastic advisors that we've also heard from here, and the ones that we have as well, you're operating at a bit of a more mature space in terms of what you really expect out of them and how do you get the most from it. So the pitch is Growth Hub, UKSA, and look at the materials that will be really helpful for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, we're heading online with Jason, who's joining us from NASA. Jason, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Over to you.
Perfect. Very good. Great to be with you. Greetings from the US. I'm Jason Kessler. I lead NASA's SBIR STTR program. We're approximately a $200 million a year award program to small business to develop technology for the NASA mission. The big news on our end, we just increased our award values. So we're up to $225 US for phase 1 and 1.275 million for our phase 2s for a total of 1.5 million investment in our early stage tech for that phase 1, phase 2. It's about a 50% increase. The other big news is our partnering platform. Might be of interest to you. We've created it to be able to matchmake with our firms and those that are interested in technology or looking for stuff to fund. We just released it a couple of weeks ago, so I welcome you to to check it out. Next slide, I will double down on what Lucy said from Spot It about if you're taking grant money, be sure you know where you're going, because here is one of our prouder images. It's the Mars Perseverance rover. You can see there are 8 technologies on that rover on the surface of Mars right now that we funded, helped get those small businesses going and the tech integrated into that mission. But that's not a market. And one of the big things that we struggle with as we're working with our firms is how do we ensure that we're making good investments that help the NASA mission, but also work with the firms to be able to be viable and really thrive outside of the NASA ecosystem. So I double tap Lucy's comments. As you're taking money, government often has a particular need, and I hate to see firms that get pulled in a direction that doesn't actually help with their commercial path. So stay true to your vision. It may be great to get some of the technical and the non-dilutive cash that government can provide, but it can also come at a cost. With that, I say thank you. My contact information should be available. Happy to talk with anyone if it's appropriate. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Next time we'll get you on phone and have you in the room. Next up, we have Ben Partridge from Ashley House.
Thank you. This is slightly weird because I was actually the entrepreneur in residence at the Catapult when it first opened. And for 14 years, I've supported the companies in the European Space Agency incubator next door until last night, where we lost a contract. But hey, never mind. Not that bitter and twisted or anything. We've helped the companies there. I think Carl can confirm the number. It's about 160 companies raised £270 million of equity funding over those 14 years after they've come into the programme. So I do a fair amount of work raising money. And I'm really going to build on what our colleague from Oppenheimer said. And I want you to focus on what the product is when you're raising investment and you start to talk to an investor. What it is not is a propulsion system, a satellite, Earth observation analysis. It's a machine that turns £5 notes into £50 notes. Simple as that. So when you speak to an investor the first time, he will have 5 questions in his mind. And those are the questions you need to address. The least important of them is what, in words of one syllable, is the product. He does not need to know about the nuclear-powered overdrive torque condenser unit that you spent 6 months trying to get working, couldn't. Then one night you were lying in the bath reading a Kindle and the cat knocked the candle into the gin and tonic and you suddenly realised how to make it work. Very interesting for you, not for the rest of us. Question 2. Now this starts to get important. Who is going to buy the product? Because if your business fails, invariably it does not fail because you can't make the product work. It failed because you can't sell enough of it. So who's going to buy it? 3, why are they going to buy it? Not because you're clever or it's a really fantastic new piece of technology. So why are they going to buy it? 4, why are they going to buy it from you? If you're competing as a startup with Airbus, Boeing, you ain't going to do it. They'll squish you. Yeah, so why are they going to buy the product from you? And the 5th question, it's possibly the most important, is what's in it for them? Because at the end of the day, they don't invest in you because you're nice people and they like the tech and it's all very fluffy. They're investing in you as a business and their job is to make money. So really simple. So when you start talking to investors, please remember those 5 questions and remember that your product is purely an engine that turns £5 notes into £50 notes. Thank you.
And lastly, we have Victoria Christmas from Space East.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm last and I haven't got. I apologise in advance for the gravelly tone of my voice, but I'm afraid this is as good as it gets. So if anyone wants to meet me afterwards, please don't feel obliged to shake my hand. I'm here just to tell you a little bit about the space ecosystem champions that the UKSA has put in place in the last month or so. There are 4 of us across the UK. Essentially, we are here to give you free independent advice on the next stage of your business. So everything that everybody has said so far is fantastic, but right at the beginning, if you don't know where to go, we could refer you to any number of these folk. I have worked in work winning for the last 25 years, space for the last 10 years, so if there is something you want to know about a ESA programme or a UKSA programme or a Research England or an Innovate UK or anything like that, then please come and talk to us and we can point you in the direction. That is literally our job, is to connect you with the next step. I would urge a little bit of speed because it is a short-term post and we are in post until the end of March. We would very much like to be in post for longer than that, but watch this space and see if our faces sort of appear. Could you flip to the next one? So there are 4 of us across the country. Dan is based out of Space South Central, so Hampshire, so probably your closest person. I am working for Space East with Stuart Catchpole. Pamela and Gareth are working with Space Hub Yorkshire, but Pamela's based in Scotland. So we cover the geography of the UK. We're also working with the ESA ambassadors. So the hope is that whatever it is that you think you might want to do, we can either answer the question or know someone who does. Thank you very much.
And thank you to all the speakers today. Really, really good to get a lot of different perspectives on a very similar kind of theme. So thank you very much. A few things just to sort of make note of. So the next Satuccino is going to be on Wednesday, the 11th of March. Make note of the date. It's not going to be when it would usually be. It'll be a week after, so on the 11th. And that's because we don't want to clash with something else that's going on, Spacecom Expo. So that's going to be on the 4th and 5th of March in Excel, London. So bringing together sort of a lot of sort of the space supply chain under one roof. I think it's one of the largest space industry conferences. So from component manufacturers, satellite operators, defense clients, government as well. Over 250 exhibitors, over 200 speakers as well. So well worth putting in the calendar if it's not already. Secondly, it's MWC Barcelona, so that's going to be a Mobile World Conference, and that's sort of similar to kind of time, 2nd to the 5th of March. So if you find yourself in Spain, it's one to keep an eye on as well. That's a flagship global connectivity event, telecoms, wide tech ecosystem to launch new products, set partnerships, and sort of debate what's coming next in the world of global connectivity. And with that, I just want to thank you all again so much for coming, both in person and online. Feel free to grab some more coffee and cake. There's plenty more. It might not seem like it, but I promise there is. So feel free to make your way over and start the conversation as well. Thank you very much.